Today, we are going to be listening to Brittany as she shares her transformation story, how she transformed her pain into purpose by founding I Need a VA, which is a fast-growing virtual staffing agency that helps entrepreneurs scale without burnout. And that's important because I want you guys to scale your business without necessarily getting burned out. She also has a book uh, that is titled She Delegates. Through this book, Brittany is trying to empower women to reclaim their time, confidence, and leadership through intentional delegation and systems that create freedom. Our story is not just about business growth, it's about becoming whole again. With that, I'll bring in our guest. Hey, Brittany, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. So, can you take us back to the moment when you realized that you had to rebuild your life from scratch? Because I know you went through some challenging moments. Can you talk us through that?
Absolutely. I was a victim of domestic violence. I married my high school sweetheart, and things didn't quite turned out as planned. And I had to flee in the middle of the night with my young children. And in doing so, I was left with nothing. I hadn't been in the workforce for a really long time. And I didn't have the means financially to survive and be able to feed the kids on my own. Between public services that, help single moms and food pantries and just grit alone, I had to figure out how to not only take care of myself, but build a life where I could be self-sufficient enough to raise my children without needing, the income of a second person. And so it- I got a job in janitorial working for my family's company, cleaning toilets and scrubbing banks late at night, and then worked my way up. And that's really where my taste for entrepreneurship came from. And everything I've built since then kind of stems from that work ethic that I cultivated while cleaning.
Thank you for sharing that, Brittany. That's such an inspiring story. And today you are helping other women to take control of their lives. So I like that. So, what inspired you to create I Need a VA?
So I was running the commercial janitorial company. I had worked my way up from cleaning to now running the business. I retired my parents so that they could enjoy their elderly years and not have to worry about an income. And then I'd also, because of COVID, started my own business because I got that taste for entrepreneurship, but I didn't own the company. And so I was like, kind of just sitting around the house bored. I had gotten remarried and was successful in janitorial. And I was like, I think I'm at a place now that I could start my own business. So I started a financial services company. I was helping other women like me who were rebuilding their lives, repair their credit, and get access to funding. And I was overwhelmed. Uh, Obviously, I have a newborn baby and a huge commercial janitorial company. I had scaled the janitorial company up, and now I have a startup. So I'm juggling motherhood, new wife, and running two businesses. And so I was burnout. So much so that I was crying all the time and just unhappy to the point where I wanted to go back to like working in corporate America. And I had hired a business coach because that's, the first logical step when you're scaling and trying to grow a new business. And my business coach was like, you need to hire a VA. And I was like, what is a VA? I had never heard of a VA before. I didn't know that that was an option for me as a small business owner. You think about outsourcing happening in these huge corporations, but not it being available to us solopreneurs.
Mhm.
And so he was like, you can hire a virtual assistant in the Philippines. Here's a company that I recommend. So I hired my first VA and she changed my life. It was like having a business bestie, someone who was rooting for me and who was in the trenches helping me build this company. And so being the type of person that I am, I'm a big on not gatekeeping. So everything good that's going on in my life, I'm always sharing that information with other people. And I would be at the grocery store or at a PTO meeting or at a business conference, and I would be telling people about what all the things my virtual assistant was doing to help me. And ultimately, every single person I talked to said the same thing. I need a VA. Oh, wow, I need a VA. And so then that them saying that over and over made me think in my head, that is a really good catchphrase. And
Yeah.
um, so I searched up the trademark registry and website URLs on GoDaddy and it was available. And I was like, I'm going to turn this into a business as if I'm not busy enough with everything I'm already doing. I always say that entrepreneurs are insane. Um,
Mhm.
we just can't ever get enough. We're never satisfied. So I started another company
Wow.
because I saw a need for other entrepreneurs. I was already helping people get funding. I was already doing coaching, writing books, speaking. But now I see all these people, they have the same issue. They have information overload. They're getting all of this great information from podcasts and social media and from their coaches, but they're not able to execute because there's not enough of them to go around. And so I Need a VA was born out of not only my own necessity for having and building a team, but from my view of the world and seeing that everybody I talked to needed a VA as well. And so that was my way of, sharing that knowledge and that gift that I had been given with other people was starting I Need a VA and helping other people find virtual assistants who could help them grow and scale their businesses and do it the right way.
Thank you, Brittany. That's such a transformational story, in my opinion. You had a janitorial business, you started a financial services company, and you now have this new company. I Need a VA. Now I'm thinking about this. There are people out there, women like you, one way or the other, they want to start their home business as well, but maybe they don't know how to start. What do
Yeah.
you say to them? Is maybe it's about confidence, maybe they are thinking, oh, will I be successful? Maybe they don't even know the first step. Is it to go to GoDaddy, like you just said, to go pick a name, or is it to have the idea? What do you tell them, Brittany?
Most really successful businesses start from either you go through something and overcome it and you share those tools that you've created with other people, or you have this passion for something. So artists who, have a skill or trade, graphic design, like whatever it is that really lights you on fire. Anything that you're passionate about can be turned into a business, can be monetized. But it's such a fine line because you have this thing that you care about and that you love, but turning it into a business means it could very easily become something that you hate. I mean, you see it every day, especially with like artists. I use pottery as an example a lot just because that was one of my bucket list items that I started doing once I delegated my business was I wanted to do something that would be a hobby for me. And immediately when I started doing pottery, I was like, I love this. This would be so easy to turn into a business. And I thought to myself, there's so many people that do just that. They love doing this thing. They're like, oh, I could do this every day for the rest of my life and make money and not have to go to this job, be my own boss, make my own schedule. But then they actually do it and they don't realize that there's so much more that goes into running a business than doing the thing you love. There's bookkeeping, there's marketing, there's social media management, there's all of the legal aspects of running a business. And so that's really where I come in to help women or men, my clientele is all over the place, realize that you can do the thing that you love. You just can't do it alone. You have to hire someone to pack those boxes full of pottery and to send the invoices and to help you with the things that you don't love, that you're not a genius at, so that you can continue to do the thing that you're passionate about and love without losing that love for it.
Well, that's so good. Now I heard you say once I delegated my business. I'm just curious. I know when you say delegate, it doesn't necessarily mean that people are doing 100% of everything for you.
Right.
What's the touch time, or what do you do actively, daily on your business today?
So now my only job is this.
Oh.
Um, yeah. So every aspect of my business is delegated now. Client care, customer service, onboarding, the recruitment aspect. The only job I have now is to be a guest coach in people's coaching programs. So I'll come in, I'll teach a class on where to find a virtual assistant, how to train, and what to delegate. I do speaking engagements like this where, I jump on a podcast or I speak on a stage and explain to people why I'm passionate about what I do. And hopefully, I teach you what to do, how I do it, but hopefully, out of convenience, you'll hire my company to do it for you. And just being a good steward of my brand and letting people know that we exist. That's really my only job now. And the rest of my job revolves around my kids and being present in their lives. That's ultimately the whole reason I built the business, to be financially and have, free and to have time freedom to spend with them. And so I took delegation as far left as you possibly can. I mean, I delegate everything I don't like to do. I don't do laundry. You know, everything in my life that takes time away from what I want to be doing, I delegate it away. It didn't start like that. It started very small and with one little task here and there. And then throughout the 5 or 6 years since I got my first VA, it has expanded to I really designed my life.
Mm.
I get to travel when I want to travel. I get to stay home when I want to stay home. And most days during the warmer months, I work from a hammock on my back porch. Yesterday I
So
worked,
cool.
like I took a couple meetings. My Tuesdays are my meeting days. I took a couple meetings from in my pajamas from my vanity in my bedroom.
Uh,
So I get to design what my day looks like,
mhm.
and I have an amazing team that I trust implicitly with my business. And now I just have to show up for a meeting once a week to see how everybody's doing and see what they need help with.
That's so cool, Brittany. And you've been saying delegation, 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 and I was here thinking delegating can be tough, and here's why. Because, and I think I heard you say the word trust. The first thing that will come to my mind is, hey, can this person do as much of a good job as I would do it if I were to do it by myself?
Yeah.
And I know that it requires some mental shift for you to transition from doing it by yourself and delegating it to others. So I want to ask you, what are those mindset shifts that people need to acquire in order for them to maybe become an expert at delegating?
Yeah. I always like to use McDonald's as an example because let's think about if the founders of McDonald's didn't decide to delegate, we would have one McDonald's and
Mm.
no one would know what McDonald's is. But now you can get a cheeseburger in North Carolina where I'm located and get another cheeseburger in California in a big city and they taste exactly the same.
Yeah.
And so I always like to tell my clients, this is how you need to look at your business. How is it possible for them to have two cheeseburgers on opposite sides of the country and they taste the same? It's the SOP. It is you taking all of your secrets in your head about how you run your business, how you want your clients to feel during the customer service interactions, that onboarding procedure, all the way through until, they're offboarded or they're no longer your client. Every single aspect of that has to be written down in a SOP. It has to have a cheat sheet. It has to have a video training because if you want someone to do it just like you, You literally have to show them exactly how you do it. And it has to be, really elementary so that anybody who picks up that cheat sheet at McDonald's in North Carolina knows, I use this bun, I use this patty, how many clicks of ketchup, exactly how many pickles, and all the pickles come from the same place.
Yeah.
And that is how you create a company that can be, number one, delegated, but also scaled and then sold. Nobody wants to buy a business that requires the CEO to stay on.
Yeah, yeah. So that's so good. So, if delegation is so critical, I'll say crucial, why then do so many people, especially women, why do they struggle with delegation?
Women especially struggle, and ultimately that's why I wrote She Delegates. Hopefully there'll be a He Delegates eventually. I started with women because I was preparing for a speaking engagement. And sometimes when you're doing a panel speaking engagement, they'll send you the questions beforehand so you have time to prepare. And they sent me the questions for the panel, and it was an all women's panel. And the first question was, how do you juggle it all? And I thought to myself, they never ask men this question. I've been to a million business conferences over the years, and I've never heard them ask a man how they juggle having a family and running a business. And so I think that women, especially, have been raised as givers, caregivers, the person who everyone runs to make everything feel better. We're the matriarchs of the family who make sure everything runs behind the scenes. And so we
Right.
carry that trauma
Mhm.
over into business. And we're like, we don't need help. If we show weakness that we need help, then we're not doing enough. So I want, first of all, women to overcome that, but also a huge issue for entrepreneurs in general, men, women, it doesn't matter, is hustle culture. Hustle culture is killing more small businesses than any, bad economy is, because when we are taught that if we're not working 24/7, like you got to get up at 5 a.m. and you got to work through the night and you got to stay up and grind and build 24 hours a day, days a week, that is not something that we can do forever.
Mhm.
Eventually, you're going to crash. And then if you're the only person inside of your business that knows how to do that thing, or you're the only person in the business at all, what happens to the business when that crash happens?
Mhm.
Your customers are now, doing a chargeback because you didn't meet a deadline because you're just exhausted. Um, so I always tell people delegation isn't something that want to do because you want to scale. It's something that you have to do in order for your business to survive with longevity. And businesses who make it past that, I guess it's like 2 year, 3 year mark, 90% of them, they're not solopreneurs anymore. They
Okay.
have a team.
That's so good. Now, I want to understand your client intake process.
Mhm.
I say there's someone out there now listening to us. They need a VA,
Yeah.
and they reached out to you. Can you walk us through the process? What do you tell them? Do you take a Zoom meeting and
Yep.
understand their business? Can you walk us through?
Yeah, so for anybody who thinks to themselves, I need a VA, I mean, it just works, right? Um, you go to our website, and first and foremost, there's like a video that will walk you through step by step of who our ideal client is, where you should be, and what you might need in your business. That kind of pre-qualifies people. They can watch that video without any pressure, knowing I'm gonna know if I need this or not at the end of this video before I jump on a call. If they get to the end of that video and they're like, yep, this is still for me, I know now even more that I need this, then they can schedule a one-on-one call. Now that they've learned everything about us during that video, on the call, we get to focus completely on them and their needs, what industry they're in, what items on their list they need to delegate. And then we put together a really in-depth job description of what we're going to be hiring for. And at that point, once they sign up, we act as a headhunter. We find usually 10 to 12 candidates for every single client that comes on board. We headhunt and find people who know their software systems, who are skilled in the areas that they need help in, and then we narrow it down for them. So we put them through multiple interviews, background checks, skills tests, and then a full-length training, which I kind of refer to as like a boot camp, because about half the people who get to training, only about half make it out.
Wow.
Um, because we stress test them to make sure that they're going to be a good fit for our client. And then they have a meet and greet, and this is the fun part. We bring usually 3 to 5 candidates to them in a Zoom room.
Mm.
We invite the candidates in one at a time, introduce them. They get to um, ask questions, see their portfolios, get a feel if is this somebody that I vibe with, that I'm going to be talking to every day? Are they going to be a good fit for my company? And then if they make a decision, they can start as early as the next day or, like a little ways out. And then go even further. One of our services is management, and we monitor the VA. We make sure that they're working when they're supposed to be working, that their productivity levels are high. We check screenshots to make sure they're not working for another company and double dipping on the hourly rate. Um, and then we offer like ongoing training. So if you have a VA through our company and there's some new AI tool that comes out, we're going to train the VA on that new tool before you probably know it exists.
Wow.
Because we know if your VA is constantly learning, you will always believe that I need this person in my organization and I want to keep them on. So we're constantly upskilling our people to make sure that our clients are getting what they're paying for.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you for sharing. You mentioned hustle culture the other time. My goal here is to help people to achieve peace, whereby they are not hustling and trying to do everything by themselves. So, what do you tell them, people that are hustling? What do you say to them in order for them to learn how to balance their time and embrace peace more?
Yeah. Um, there I'm a hustler by nature. I mean, I was like in third grade selling pencils. Um, it comes very naturally to me, and I think that a lot of people in entrepreneurship are the same way. I think in order to be a really successful entrepreneur, you have to have that hustle in you. But at some point, and I'll use an example that happened to me very recently. I was in New York City. I was actually going to speak at a podcast. And we went out to dinner afterwards, and the other entrepreneurs at the table were all on their phones during dinner.
Wow.
They were all putting out fires and handling situations and talking to
Mm.
people in their organization or their clients. And I was like, you all need a VA to handle this. You shouldn't be the first point of contact.
Yeah.
If I can recommend anybody who's currently in deep in the hustle culture, I started there. The biggest shift for me happened when I hired an executive assistant,
Yeah.
someone who was in between me and the client,
Right.
somebody who was in between me and the fire, so they can throw some water on this fire while I eat dinner. I'm
Right.
the CEO, and this is what I always preach to everybody I talk to, whether it's on stage or in a coaching call or anything. You are the CEO of a multi-million dollar corporation. You may not have the multi-million dollars yet, but you have to look at yourself. You have to look at your business as this is my multi-million dollar organization. How would the CEO of a multi-million dollar organization spend their time? If
Mm.
my Amazon order is late, Jeff Bezos is not running over to the warehouse to find it and make sure it gets to me on time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you have to have somebody in between you and those little tedious tasks in order for you to operate at your highest level and be the idea person and the person who gets to actually drive the brand in the right direction. Otherwise, there's no way for you to actually have peace in your life.
Mm.
The peace came for me when I think he was like 9 or 7 or 8 years old at that time. My son came to me and he said, "Can we go back to being poor?"
Oh.
I was like, this ungrateful little.
No way.
I have been working myself to death day and night to build a life where we don't have to go to a food pantry but he's just a child. He
Yeah.
doesn't care how much money we have in the bank or if we have investments or how many cars we have. He wants to spend time with his mother.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for me, the peace came when I started prioritizing the people in my life who were the reason why I built it all.
Yeah.
Putting them, his wrestling match comes before a meeting with a client. I have a client care team. They can handle that. I don't have to be that person today. I want to be at peace and knowing that when my children are grown, they're going to be able to look back and say, "Wow, she did all of that for us and she never left us hanging. She was always there." And
Oh,
that is the ultimate peace for me, but everybody's peace looks different. So, figuring out what your ideal life looks like and then plugging people into those positions so that you can live that life authentically.
oh, that's so good. So, real quickly, you've been doing this for a while, and I know some people maybe out there listening to us, and oh, all I need to do is just go get a VA. Can you tell us what are some mistakes that you see people make when hiring a VA?
Number one is the vetting process. A lot of people will just go to Fiverr or Upwork and hire the first person who says they can do what it is that they need done. I always recommend to hire someone long term, whether that's part-time or full-time. You want them to know your brand, to know you, how you would handle situations, and you want them to be invested in the growth of your company. I love freelancers and I love just, a one-off job for certain things, but when you're really trying to scale, you need people on your team who believe in the brand as much as you do. That's a huge mistake that I see a lot of people is like they'll just hire an outsourcing company to do their graphic design, but that same person is doing graphic design for 50 other people. So you're not important to them. My graphics, my social media and graphics team, they don't work for anyone else. So their whole life revolves around thinking of ideas of how to grow my business.
That's so good.
And so that's one of my cheat codes is the vetting process, making sure that they can actually do what it is that needs to be done and making sure that they are in it for the long haul with me.
Okay, that's so good. So finally, let's talk about your book, She Delegates. What's the key takeaway from your book?
Oh gosh, I call it the permission slip for women to have it all. And we live in a society that you're persecuted as a mother if you don't have your own means or you don't have a job, you know. And then you're also persecuted if you're a career woman, that you're not there enough, that you're not doing enough for your kids, you're not as available to them. And so She Delegates was just my permission slip to women for them to know that they can do it all, they can have it all. They just can't do it all by themselves. And it's such a great book because it's not like this guide on how to delegate so much as it is every mistake I've ever made in bound form. It's just my voice. I pretty much just sat down with a laptop and cried into pa the pages about every bad partnership that I've done. Um, every time the story about my son coming to me and telling me he wishes we were poor again, all of those mistakes that I made, putting them down on paper so that women could see, oh my gosh, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one. And she's been able to build this huge empire while being what my kids call the best mom on earth. Um, and I wanted it to be kind of the roadmap for women to know that it's okay not to have it all figured out, but there is a way to do it all.
So good. So your message to women is it's okay not to have it all figured out, but that shouldn't mean people should give up. There are people around that can help one way or the other. Thank you very much for being on the show with us today, Brittany. Where can we get your book? And
Yeah,
how can
so
we listeners, how can they find you so that they can continue this journey with you?
Absolutely. So I'm on all social media networks. It's just my first and last name at Brittany Bettini. And then you can go to shedelegates.com. On shedelegates.com, not only can you get the book, but there's also a really great workbook that's free that goes along with the book to give you your life audit of what tasks you should delegate first. And then also a delegation personality test. So it'll tell you what kind of boss you're going to be and how you can kind of gear delegation around the type of personality you have when it comes to leadership.
So good. So I'm delegating myself to make sure that I put all your links in my show notes so
Awesome.
that my audience can find you. Thank you, Brittany, for joining us on the Career Evangelist podcast.
Thank you for having me.